Hello, fellow finance experts. So what we're looking at here is Yahoo Finance, and this is where I collected the information that I was going to need for my back testing and to run the regression on my theory. I took the statistical data for 30 random stocks that as a potential investor that I might be interested in. The one that I'm looking up here is the Walt Disney Company, but I also looked up Apple and Yahoo, several other companies, not in any particular category, just companies that intrigued me as a potential investor. So specifically what I looked for on each of these 30 companies was I looked at their debt to equity ratio. What was their financial leverage? Here for Apple is 67.12. And then when we look over here, the other thing I looked at was their stock price history. I wanted to know that, how those things related to each other. So I looked at the 52-week low stock price and I looked at the 52-week high stock price. Here we can see that they ranged from $89 to $123 throughout the 52 weeks. So to conduct the back test, I went to Excel and I entered the data that I had on those stocks. And here in column A, I have the stock symbol. Column B, the debt to equity ratio. Column C, I have the 52-week low share price. Column D, I have the 52-week high share price. And in column E, I have the 52-week average share price that I calculated. So my hypothesis is that the higher a company's debt to equity ratio, or the higher their financial leverage, the lower the average stock price. And so this just intrigued me a little bit because as a potential investor, I feel like I would want to pay less for a piece of stock or a share of stock if the company had a lot of financial leverage, just because I would perceive that to be a little risky. So for the regression, we're going to run under data analysis regression. And the first thing that we're going to input is our Y variable, which is our dependent variable. And in this case, the dependent variable that we're going to choose is going to be our average share price. And then we're going to input our X value, our X variable. And our X variable in this case is going to be our independent variable, which is going to be the debt to equity ratio. We're going to choose that we want to make sure they're labeled so the output is easier to read. And we're going to create that output in a new Excel workbook. So we're going to click OK. And our output is going to appear, but I did clean that up a little bit just to make it a little easier to read. And so what we're going to do now, the first number we're going to look at under the summary is our R-square value. So in this case, the R-square shows us the correlation between the two variables. What's the correlation between the dependent variable of our average 52-week share price and our independent variable of our debt to equity ratio? And what it shows us is the movement in stock price is, only 0.19% related to the debt to equity ratio. So there's very little correlation between those two variables. And the next thing we're going to move on to look at is our coefficient. So in our coefficient, we looked at it 0.04. And 0 means independent. So these two variables really are almost independent of one another. So the movement of one really has little to no significance on the movement of the other variable. And then to look to see if this is statistically significant, we're going to look at our t-stat value. So our t-stat value is 0.234, which, like our coefficient and our R-square, this is also a low number, which indicates to me that there is no statistical significance between the average 52-week share price and the debt to equity ratio of these stocks. Moving on to probability. When we look at our p-value, we have to move our decimal 5 spaces. So when we move that, we get 0.0008, which is less than the rule of thumb. So in p-value, the rule of thumb is 0.051. So because we are less than that number, we're going to reject the null hypothesis. So in looking at the information that we have here, based on the 30 stocks that were chosen, it appears that there is no statistical significance between the average 52-week share price and the debt to equity ratio. So apparently, unlike myself, there doesn't seem any concern on behalf of potential investors that if a company has a high debt to equity ratio, that they may be willing to pay lower for that share of stock. Thank you.